beginning of the apocalypse, really.
Mm.
So as bad as it can get in a short period of time.
It's like the apocalypse in a small town, you know?
As well, yeah.
At the very beginning, there's a train crash. All the people on the train, most of them are infected. Naturally, the police come, the ambulances come, they try to help the fire engines. Boom, they're overrun. All of the authority is gone. With no authority, you've got nothing left but people running around scared. So the few people that are left all band together and hide, leaving these poor kids defenseless. They've got no one to turn to. That's all that matters.
No, I don't think anyone really cares why. They just want to see the zombies do what they do best.
I'm going to hold my hand up and say I love the original zombie genre. I hated it when they started making zombies. So to me, they're not zombies. And
Yeah,
I know
they're
you're
like
going.
that,
I know you're
zombies.
going to the nerdy system here, but a zombie is dead for God's sake. You know, they're infected.
Yeah.
Anything that can move quick is infected. It's not a zombie.
No, they're like super zombies. Yeah, you almost want to be a zombie because it looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's some sort of experiment.
Yeah,
or some
like
sort
if
of
you become a zombie, you can like run faster and jump higher. I can't do any of that crap
zombies
yet.
are docile, but they're still scary as hell at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just relentless.
Yeah, there's just that's the thing. They're scary because they're just always coming, never stopping.
Yeah.
And it's just terrifying the more there are of them.
Well, me, I'm not a big kind of zombie movie fan. I was like 4 awesome zombie movies, like Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 remake, the original Dawn of the Dead, and a few others are classics. And then a few which aren't even technically zombie movies, like Night of the Creeps, which are brilliant. And then the entire rest of the genre, I hate. They do the same stuff over and over and over again. I've seen it 1,000 times and I get sick of it. So when someone says to me, I want to do a zombie movie, I think, oh, so generic. Mm-hmm. And then you present something like, but it's kids. And I think, oh, how would a kid deal with that, you know? If there's no adult supervision. Because, I mean, kids by themselves in any situation is fascinating. But put in such a kind of dark situation, you know? The kind of Saw mentality in me kind of goes, oh, I can't wait to see what happens when that happens.
Mm-hmm. The zombie genre has been around for a while. You've done pretty much almost everything and anything you can do with it. But it's always the same thing. It's always like you gotta throw a love interest in there. Someone's gotta get bitten and not tell anyone. You know, basically there's like rules of a zombie film. We kind of just took those rules, set it on fire, and be like, you know what? These are kids. You know, we're just making up the rules on this one.
Mm-hmm. So none of the kids fall over, land on their keys, and go on without me. And the other guy's all like, well, we can't leave them. None of that crap.
No, nothing like that. Well, it begins and ends with adults, but the core of it, the bulk of it, is just the kids. You know, if you introduce any adults into it, it becomes the adults that pull the focus again. You know, because they're the adults. What they say goes. They're the authority. And what we try to do is take away all authority. You know, leave these kids on their own to what they want. Almost like a Lord of the Flies with zombies.
Well, I mean, I gotta stop you because that's not the script I read.
Well,
No, I mean, it starts with adults, like everything with kids. Kids have adults around them all the time. Once those are stripped away, there's naturally the whole kind of, what do we do? We're on our own. At first, the kids are kind of like, you know, yeah, this is awesome, total freedom. Kids always want freedom. But then, of course, almost immediately crashing down to reality, they're kind of like, well, what do we do? How do we get food? How do we keep ourselves safe? You know, how do we get warm water out of the thing? The tap's not working. What the hell does that mean? And then from there on, from that beginning, once it actually kind of kicks into high gear, there is a few adults that come in and out of the story, and we try to portray them purely from the kid's perspective. It's hard to have. I think if a kid was in that situation, it'd be very hard to have a normal, I'm a kid, you're an adult dynamic. So they've got to try and be an adult against another adult and act above their age to figure out what the hell's going on. Which makes the adults just as scary as the kids, even though they're not necessarily bad.
Writing went absolutely brilliant. I mean, I did the first pass, which is what I normally do. Passed on to the gym and Hank afterwards. They took it from there, developed it, brought new life into it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Is Wayne will come to me on like a Monday and go, Hank, I've had this idea for a movie. And I'm like, all right, man, what's it about? And he'll tell me a little snippet. And I'll go, oh, that sounds pretty good. You should write it. And he'll go, okay. Then he'll call me on Wednesday and go, Phil, I wrote it. The whole script, 95 pages. And I'll be like, oh, cool, man, send it across to me. And then I'll read it on Thursday and I'll show it to Jim. And we'll go, wow, there's like 20 awesome pages here. 50 pages of total crap and 10 pages of this is a great idea, but it's hidden. So we dust off those 10 pages, fix them, and then we go, right, what do we do with these 50? Because you got this awesome beginning, this awesome ending. What the hell is in the middle? More than anything, what we wanted to do was basically set it up with the best beginning, middle, and end we could. So how would this actually all begin? What spawned it all off? How many kids will there be? How many adults will there be? How will they interact, and where will they go, and why? So we worked all that out and plotted out the whole movie, the progression from point A to point B to point C to point D until we got to the end. And it was like, great, we've plotted the whole thing out. And the reason we didn't really focus on kind of character death stages, I think kids are not exactly hard to write for, but they don't act like adults.
No.
So you can't use complete logic like...
You have to use child logic.
Yeah, I'm in danger, so I'll go to the authorities. Or I'm in danger, so I'll have to get a weapon or anything. Kids might not necessarily immediately think these ways. They might just kind of go, I'm hungry!
Mm-hmm.
So we had to think, okay, how is a kid going to react to this? And kind of plot it accordingly. Once we had that, we wanted to spend a lot of time making sure these kids were real kids. They had personalities, they had feelings, they had reason they were doing stuff. And they all interacted with each other based on how well they knew each other, you know? One thing I hate in movies is, oh, I don't like him, he's the aggressive type. Or, oh, I know I'm going to have an interest in her because she's my love interest. Well, kids don't have love interests. Mm-hmm. So you got none of the whole boy-girl dynamics. They're all just kids, you know? And there is no friends and enemies. They're all just kids. They're friends one minute and enemy the next. Kids are very sporadic like that. So that makes
fickle, they pick fights over the stupidest little things when there's like bigger things. Like they're incredibly self-absorbed human beings. You know, they don't think, oh, is this a bad time for you? Oh, maybe I'll make this complaint later when we're not surrounded by a horde of zombies. No, they just go with their gut in the moment, how they feel.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just have to inject that into every situation. Because there's no off button for them. They're just like this 24/7, 365. And, you know, I've never, like, written for children or anything like that, but I've, like you know, just being around children, things like that, seeing the things they do and how they deal with certain things where an adult would might, like, break down and cry, but a kid, it just, like, bounces off the back and stuff like that. And I just wanted to put some realism into children in this unreal world. Well, I have my son, he's 12 years old. And my girlfriend, she's got 3 kids, which I've drawn like tremendous inspiration from then. Her 3 kids are the ages of 3 kids in here, and basically every day they would do something, and I'd be like, you know what, Hank, we gotta put this kid did this today. I thought it was hilarious, but he just did it because that's what kids do, and I think they should have that should be in the film, and it just translates very nicely into it and just transitions into other things.
Well, the thing with the thing what differentiates kids from adults is they don't think of the consequences. They just think of the heroics and things. Let's do this, we can do this, but shit, we can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the difference. I think that's why adults look at the kids as being a hindrance, especially in a situation like this.
Yeah, basically they have, you know, they go from point A, they know what point B needs to be and they want to do point B, but they have no idea how to get there. But that doesn't bother them. It's like, we have to do this, that's what they're doing.
Which, I mean, I think for Wayne, having 2 kids of his own and Jim having access to 4 kids, 3 that aren't his and 1 that is, they can kind of look at these kids and get so much inspiration, but me, I just have to be a kid. Because I don't have any kids of my own, so I've just got to be a kid. So I'm sitting there watching Cartoon Network like, wait, I've got it! And then I run back and write in, you know, zombie falls over, kid laughs. You know, that kind of thing.
Every film is, let's see how adults struggle with zombies.
Yeah.
Kids have to struggle
and a kid
as well.
will be nothing more than, you know, a plot device or a burden or something like that. Like, never are they useful in the slightest.
They're a hindrance.
Exactly. It's like, they're just there to like, just usher in some other issue that they have to deal with.
But I was able to look at that from a different point of view as well as a parent. My worst fear would be to think, what's going on with my kids. You know, there's zombies out there and my kids are at home, I need to get them. But we want to put the fact on that these parents weren't allowed to get them, would fear win in the end, as it normally does.
Would you override your sense of self-preservation and do what you think is right for your family, or would you just listen to what like the guys in the uniform say when the world's going to hell?
What people have still got to remember is it's just a film in the end. You know, and I think that's the one thing everybody needs to remember. It's just a film. Zombies are not real, but people love them all the same. So, you know, sadly, if you look at Like How We Did, there is a lot of bands that go out there with kids, which, you know, is absolutely awful. But we're doing this for an audience just to enjoy it and not actually think it's real and have some fun.
Well, it's like with any other film, really. I mean, maybe, like, I might be considered emotionless or whatever, but I can watch a sad film and not cry because I know it's a film. I'll look at it and be like, oh, that's sad, that's a good film, I like what they did with that. And I feel for the characters, but I feel for them as unreal characters.
It is just character.
Yeah.
That is, it's not a person, it's a character. Yeah, totally.
And I don't think the violence is that grand. I think the subject matter of the violence is. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is just a film. Just take it as it comes and enjoy the ride.
We don't have the money for fake blood. So some of the kids aren't going into into the sequel. No, low budget. It's when you talk to someone who's used to having money, they'd see the numbers we're asking for and think, God, that's nothing. You know, you can't make a movie on that. But I mean, we've proven it. We've done a movie before, which is in post-production now, made on 30 grand. That's to some people impossible, but it is possible if you know how you're doing it. You get people to you know, who have passion and interest and love for this stuff, they'll come in at cut rate prices because they want to do it. If you're making a random generic movie, people will be like, I don't want to do that, so they want more money for it.
Well, one thing I think we're experts of just a low budget.
No
Getting the best, getting the most you can out of no to low budget. I mean, we can build sets on the fly.
Well, let's face it, people just have to watch our previous work, which we've actually done with our own money, which is nothing basically, to see what we're capable of doing. Give us a small budget and imagine what we can do.
That being said, even when writing the script, we were aware of budgetary concerns, and we wrote it in such a way where it can be done on a low budget, but done fantastically on a significantly larger budget. You know, we have ideas for like the sets, the locations that can be like used and like reused and stuff, dressed up, dressed down, all kinds of things.
It's like every location is similar to the one before, only it's a different. You've got like a police station, which you would have the same kind of corridors, which would be in a school, which would be in a hospital, but the different buildings on the outside, but they're all the same location on the inside, which cuts down on a lot of budget basically.
When it comes to budgets, I mean, we picked out we worked it out and we figured out the absolute minimum we can do it for. It's £165,000, about $270,000. That would take us everywhere we need to be and get this released on DVD and Blu-ray. To get into theaters, to do it with the quality we want and the level of scope we want, we would need at the minimum £465,000. That's having very little left for actors and things. In a perfect world, if someone were to drop us $2 million, I mean, all we're talking about is just building the scope that little bit higher with any extra money. You know? We could go, well, hell, we have 25 grand more than we expected. Let's build that set, not go on location. That will give us much more freedom, creativity, and ability to actually work the camera more. We've worked out what we can do it for. Anything over that is just going to make it better, make it stronger. So, I mean, by all means, donate more. Everyone's getting a free copy of the movie. You put anything in. Give me 50 pence. You can watch this movie. I'll give it to you today.
Hell yeah.
Well, the thing is, from my perspective, I would like all the kids to just be kids.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, if they're all kids, you don't know who's going and who's staying. You know, when you've got like 3 people you never heard of and Tom Cruise, it's good odds Tom Cruise is going to live. It'd be the hero. Pretty good odds. But when there's other adults in this, there's a few adults, and I would like to get a named actor or 2 on there. just because I think they'll provide a little extra something.
Yeah.
A little recognition, you kind of go, oh, there's another reason to watch this. Yet another one.
As well, though, I think if you get a named actor on, it helps the other actors who haven't done much.
Mhm.
It gives them that little boost to actually become better than what they were doing in the first place. And again, I'm not saying that nastily, it's just sometimes when you work on low budgets, it is quite easy just to go by the way and just, it's a job.
It's easy to feel like this will never go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a job,
just
that's
a
all
movie.
it is. I'm
when
just doing, you know, but if you've got a big actor there who's done a lot of stuff, you're thinking, hey,
Oh my God,
I need to do this,
places.
I need to do this, this is
step
it,
my
this is
game
my
up.
chance.
We want to do this our way, for one thing. You know, taking it to like a big budget thing, they don't really want to give you the money for it. They want to take the project off you and do it themselves.
Plus, they would never go down some of the roads we want to go down with it. They'd think it was too PC or too, you know, too bad for the audience to watch.
Oh,
Or,
yeah.
you
It's like we
know.
say, it's children in a zombie apocalypse. The subject matter in itself will make a lot of people go, gee,
We
I
want to
don't know
make
if
this
we
as
want to
real
get behind
as
that.
possible. It's got to be as... If there was ever zombies, this would be as real as what would happen in a zombie outbreak. And I think big budget studios would just take that totally away from us, and they would just make it more of a superhero film than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want them. We don't want them to change any of the core ideas. We don't want them to, like you said, make some kind of hero version of it. You don't want them to ruin it with an adult coming to the rescue. You know, to totally negate everything we're trying to do with the plot.
Any final words?
Yeah,
Give us money.
give us the money and you won't regret it.
For $100,000, your kid can be in the movie, they can be famous, you can be proud for a change. Everyone's happy.